on
Gets
it.
a little moist.
Moist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's great.
This episode is made possible by our deity, the Dark Lord himself, Jim's Fascia?
Fascia.
And our therapy partners, Gertie, B, and Pickett. Happy Toyota-thon from fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada. This is Pod Therapy. Real people, real problems, and real therapists. You can submit your questions anonymously at podtherapy.net or email us at podtherapyguys@gmail.com. Broadcasting from the churn, that's Jim, that's Whitney, I'm Nick. It's time for some Pod Therapy.
Welcome to December. It is the
December to remember.
Do you know it's also Alzheimer's Awareness Month? It unironically, it just is. It just is.
Here's the thing.
Let me get ahead of that.
I didn't even make it. I forgot about that joke yet.
No,
I'm already cut it off.
Yeah.
No. I think we've made this joke before.
It's not a joke. It is a real thing.
Observation.
You
I
can't
feel
remember.
Like, no,
I can't
Don't,
remember.
don't say that.
I feel like
No.
every year we do this.
They're all
going.
going to think it's a bit. I know. There's no way out. They're all going to be convinced this is a
because
bit.
I know I've done the
not a bit.
Toyota-thon. I've done the Toyota-thon joke before.
And I've jumped in
you
with
have
this.
jumped in with, did you know that?
No.
Every year we do this.
I believe you.
Wow.
I felt it too.
Jim
the
is a
deja
member
vu.
of AARP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every time I hear the commercials for AARP and they're like, it doesn't matter how old you are.
Yeah.
I'm like, think of Jim.
I got my mom signed up for it while she was visiting. I was
Well
like, "Are you a
done.
member of AARP?" And she was so offended.
Do you get a
She's
referral?
like, "No,
Do you
I
get a
am
referral
59." Yeah, I was like, "You need to use my code." She's like, "Why are you a member?" I'm like, "It's so good. The discounts are amazing." I was like, "I got a tote bag." I sold her with the tote bag though. I showed her the tote
Yeah.
bag. She's like, "Damn, that's a really good tote
What is
bag."
the best AARP discount you've gotten so far?
It's you get your money on hotels.
So have
That's
you
where
reserved
you
a
get 'em.
hotel?
I have. Yeah.
Okay.
So in the summer we did a bunch of traveling. Like,
Gotcha.
that's when we go visit everything. And that's where you get your money back. You're getting
Visit
5-10% off every
Visiting.
hotel.
Okay.
He
Yeah.
said-
And then you're getting like a little bit off of like, restaurants like Denny's and stuff. But
But only from the hours of 3:30 to 5:30 p.m.
yeah. Very specifically.
Well, who's going to eat after 5 p.m.?
Get that early bird special, baby.
Gotta get it.
My
Gotta
tum
get it.
tum would hurt.
Special
Wheel of
thanks
Fortune's on.
to Spirit Airlines, who sent me more points for my birthday.
Oh, good.
It's great.
Lucky ducky.
Just let me be free, Spirit. You've literally declared bankruptcy.
Yeah, how are they
Why are
giving
we still
away?
doing this?
They can't.
Why are you
'cause
still
it's-
sending me
it's
these?
monopoly money at that
is.
point.
Yeah.
Like,
Doesn't matter.
sure.
Yeah.
Everybody gets 1,000
A
points.
million points.
You also got some podcast dollars as well.
That's
You got some pod therapy dollars.
That's right, Bob Didgeroos. All right, we got some great questions for today's show. Leading off is effective teletherapy from Anonymous. It seems that most therapists have switched to using video conference systems for therapy sessions. It seems hard to find anyone who will do in-person sessions anymore. They both seem to be effective. Both seem to have their pros and cons. Is there anything someone should do to make video therapy as good as possible? One thing I was thinking was when a patient is given all the prerequisites to run one side of the call, you need a computer with these specs, this sort of web browser, camera, etc. Maybe one of the prerequisites... Green screen. Maybe one of the prereqs to suggest is that a box of tissues should be within arm's reach. It usually is there for in-person sessions, but it might be something that someone might not think about in telehealth. I've seen some practice websites that suggest that you should close all other programs for performance reasons. Is it really that, or is it so that you don't start scrolling through Reddit during a session? I usually move the window the video is in into its own desktop, so the other open windows aren't around during therapy, but everything is back in one place once I switch to the original desktop. For the times that I've had in-person therapy, it was a bit of a break in the day. I had to drive from work, go to the office the practice was in, wait in the waiting room, and then after the session, drive back. Teletherapy doesn't take that same chunk out of the day. But on the other hand, it can be pretty abrupt. I can be working until the minute the session starts, still be sitting in the same chair I've been in all morning. And then the moment the session ends, I can be right back to work with its accompanying pressures. It's almost that the going from location to location when therapy was in session separated it a bit, and made it more of an explicit entering and exiting of a certain space, a certain feeling, and a different mode of attending. Would I be better off having therapy in a different room from my office, so I have to leave one and go to the other? Maybe take a walk around the block after the therapy session before going back to work. If in-person sessions and video sessions are different, what are the best ways of making either one more effective than it could be? Thanks, Anonymous.
That's
I feel like this is something that's come up before, right?
You know, not this flavor of it. I like this version of, look, I'm not, saying this is a bad thing.
Right.
How can I do this in probably the best recommended way?
Let's think about what the differences are.
I like that. Yeah, this is a really good
But I think we have talked about the action of going to the therapist's office and kind of having that time set aside.
Because a lot of people will say the drive to the office, they're gathering their thoughts.
Right.
They're kind of doing an inventory. What am I going to talk about with this person?
That's a good point, yeah.
Whereas I'm sure the telehealth thing, it is like that. I mean, you just okay, you're doing one thing. And
you set an alarm for 5 minutes before, and then you join the call.
Probably
run in the other room.
You probably do, and there's not that same prep.
Yeah, I mean, if therapy is like an emotional exercise of going to the gym, then it makes sense. Like you should have kind of a warm up exercise, and you should have a cool down.
Yeah,
I think that's kind of what the drive to and from kind of works as it kind of serves that purpose of being a cool down and kind of be able to shift gears slowly. So yeah, if you're doing telehealth, I like the idea. I had not even thought of that, but I like the idea of going for a walk afterwards. Just around the block, just to get out, just to do something.
Take 10 minutes and decompress a little bit.
I think that there's a best of both worlds here, because if you're in Vegas, which is a not heavy traffic town, you could be commuting 30 minutes to and from. That's an hour back out of your day that you lost, plus the hour of therapy, plus, you might be hanging out in a waiting room because it's not all precise. You might get there 15 minutes early. But you think about your walk suggestion, it can be much more efficient and still get this effect where you take one quick lap around the block.
You mean you're still saving a lot of time? That's the effect
you're still getting all that time back, and I think that you're being efficient with your day. But there is maybe room to create some kind of, I like that.
Well, you're setting aside an hour. Set aside an hour and 20 minutes.
There you go. Do 10 before, 10 afterward.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. The question of doing this in a different room, this has come up. So I'm 100% telehealth now. And this is something I've seen with other people. And it's interesting because I've talked to folks that specifically will move to their kitchen table. And if they do work from home, that is part, and I'll say it's interesting because I know you work from home. You probably have a really good tech setup in your office. And I do, but I'm intentionally doing this on the laptop in the living room on a couch because I want this to feel more natural to me. I don't want to feel like I'm at work.
I like that.
Because I think a lot of people also get really distracted. And this is something I can tell. And I always feel self-conscious because I'm worried they're going to notice my eyes popping around. But I warn them in the beginning. I kind of do an orientation and tell them, if we were in office, you would not be surprised to notice my eyes are not transfixed upon you because I am often looking down and writing. The difference in office is you can see the thing I'm writing upon, and it doesn't break the vibe.
Right.
But in telehealth, you can't.
You don't just do the Zoom filter where it digitally puts on sunglasses.
I should. I should totally do that. I looked into a filter that makes your eyes always look like they're looking into the camera.
Oh, that's horrifying.
But yeah, exactly.
Could you also set it to never blink?
Yes, it doesn't blink. No, that comes in. That is feature, not bug.
Great.
Yeah. Designed.
Never mind.
Yeah.
Do that.
But no, that'll happen is you'll be talking to somebody and sometimes they're getting pinged or they're getting messages. Pop-ups are happening. And so it's okay. And so I like that idea, Ryder, of maybe kind of interrupting the space and giving yourself permission to sort of get into a different mindset as well.
Yeah. If you're at work too, I don't know how, it depends on your setup, where your car is at and all of that, but I've had clients go out to their car if they need privacy, but that does depend. If it's summer in Vegas, you probably can't do that, or unless
the AC is cranked so loud you can't hear them.
Yeah, but if you're in a mild climate, you can go into a garage or some space like that.
Don't run the car in the garage.
I meant covered garage,
no,
at
just
work.
Making sure we clarify that.
But yes, in your personal garage.
No.
Okay.
No.
Closer.
Like
all right, good. Yeah, I'll take. Thanks for the notes. Yeah, no,
getting better.
He's edging closer.
Yeah. Oh, damn it! Jesus, everybody's getting this. Everybody, fuck this game.
Whitney's the master.
This is dumb.
Okay.
And second drop.
Thank you.
What about the thing with shutting down the other programs? Because when the writer first said that, I assumed, no, this is just a thing that they tell people because some people have shitty computers and can't run multiple programs. But do you think there is something to the kind of eliminating distractions?
I really,
like that.
yeah. I mean, maybe knock on wood, I've just been lucky, but I have not really noticed a huge problem with a client looking around or doing other things. There's only one client that this came up, and that was because they were on the spectrum and ADHD, and it was like if they weren't doing other things, it like messed with them. That kind of helped them focus. Oh, yes, exactly. Yeah. They needed something to be doing so they could talk and be more open because it was very difficult for them.
I went to this morning in Vegas. There was a roundtable discussion on problem gambling in Nevada.
That's a problem here?
Yeah, believe it or not.
The problem is they're not gambling enough.
Yeah.
We got to work.
Was the table a craps table?
Yeah. Oh, that would have been so cool.
It wasn't. But I did have a problem because it was a rectangle. It was not round, and that I
don't advertise it as a round table.
Exactly.
If you're going to just show up and have a rectangular table.
Catfish.
But one of the things that they had when they put this on, they bought a whole bunch of just random knickknacks to have at the table all the way around. And so I was constantly just playing with something. Like I was paying attention, but I just like that. Well, shit, right now, I've got a bottle opener in my hand.
Yeah.
There's a bottle opener on Nick's thumb right now.
I always have this.
And
there's
Playboy
always,
and
I'm always
the Playboy's still there.
Always
That's gems.
Yeah, but there's always something that I have with my hands, and so I can totally understand that. Like with the web browser thing, I probably, if I was the counselor or therapist, I wouldn't even bring it up unless it became a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so hard because I feel like colleagues of mine had mentioned issues like their client would be like going through a drive-through or something crazy. And I'm like, what?
Yeah. And, I have mixed feelings about that. So
I feel like you could say, don't be driving.
Yeah.
Right?
Which, I mean, but that'll happen often is I'll jump into the Zoom and they're in their car and I can tell they're driving. They're like, hey, I am 5 minutes away from home. I'm sorry. Which goes back to the author's point of like, sometimes you time this too close. Right? And you don't have that same loading zone. And, I think every telehealth therapist has a procedure for that, of like, okay, we're turning off Zoom, we're going to phone at a minimum or we're waiting, until you're in a safe place.
That's what I was going to say. I usually would text my therapist, I'm going to be 5 minutes late.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, hey.
Yeah. So there's definitely some safety procedures there. But I do see a lot of folks that will actually choose intentionally to do therapy and take a walk. Or something to that
like
effect.
walk and talk.
Yeah, and
I have a girl that would clean
drive.
sometimes.
Yes.
Well, they're like, hey, I'm just going to clean my apartment while we chat.
I like that this is an option. And again, just going back to the stimming and like some people benefit from having this other thing that they can do.
Like going and doing therapy, just like sitting out in a little neighborhood park or something.
Yes.
Just sounds lovely.
Yep.
Yeah. I've definitely seen people, I mean, obviously over the years I've seen, everybody do everything at this point, but it really,
you have.
Oh, there it is. Damn it. I don't like that I'm setting them up. Like that upsets me. Like, I'm trying to get mine in there and nobody laughs and then I'm setting them up.
Well, nobody wants yours in there.
Yeah, damn it.
Oh my gosh.
Damn it. Patreon.com/therapy to be in on the jokes. But yeah, so like I definitely am okay with that. I think that I like the diversity. I like that people can do it. If you're trying to maximize the experience, I mean, I've never been too fussy about like you have to close all your programs or anything like that. I don't give a lot of instructions to people because I want it to be simple. But I do have a bone to pick about this.
Pick it.
Go on.
There it is. Oh, so not okay. Not taking the layouts. Fine. Yeah.
Like what?
No, I'm not going to do it if you just pause for it.
Yeah. Good point. So I don't like.
I'll just force it in there.
Oh, God damn it.
I couldn't help it.
It worked. I mean, you did, didn't you? You just did it.
It's too good. You
it's
can't.
too many. All right. But no, like, so like one thing that bothers me, as the writer said, a lot of therapists are going telehealth. Fine. There's a lot of reasons for that. I think, this healthcare medium turned out to lend itself to this, and we didn't see a drop in efficacy, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
That's great. But also the affordability, I think for the model, we all already know that mental health struggles for profitability. And so that's taken away a lot of overhead for a lot of therapists that allows them to get a little closer to profitability, which is making the profession more sustainable. It's attracting more people into it. There's a lot of things I think is really good about this model. But one thing that gets me a little upset is when I see therapists that get like the freest, cheapest telehealth platform that they can use.
Yeah.
And I'm really tempted to name check, but I don't want anybody out there to get itchy if they're like,
Wait,
that's what
like,
my therapist
They
uses.
don't just like pay for like Zoom Pro or something?
A lot of them don't. So like I pay not only for Zoom, but like for the HIPAA compliant level of Zoom.
Okay.
Which is nice because it's like it's the VIP one or whatever.
And it's not $30,000.
No, it's like $50 a month.
Exactly, yeah.
Which I should. I don't pay office rent anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Fine.
Yeah.
Like I traded $900 in office rent for $50 a month to run a good version of Zoom. But then that's nice.
Wait, there aren't therapists that are having to like kick their clients off of the Zoom meeting because their hour is up, are they?
It's 45 minutes.
Oh, shit.
And there are people using the free version of
That's
Zoom.
what I mean.
That offends me. I don't think you
That's
should
horrible.
do that. There's people using, well, I'll name check a few. Doxy.me is another one that's like free.
Okay.
And there's some other really cheapo ones. There's like a Vimeo or Vizio. And like I know entire practices that instruct all of their therapists, this is the one we use. And I always get mad because I'm like,
use the free version.
Well, yeah,
but
and
if it's not HIPAA compliant, that's problematic just in and of
they
itself.
are HIPAA compliant, but they're like these weird free platforms that are trying to like sell something else.
That's what I was going to say. There's some other angle
Where's
there.
the money? Yeah, and so like I don't like it because you get what you pay for.
Yeah.
And like I think the patient deserves a polished, good, reliable experience, which is why I like Zoom because it's like, look, it's going to work. Like you install it on your device, it will work across every device.
And everybody knows how to use it.
It works.
Or
it just works.
It's kind of just out there.
Yeah, and I'm paying for it, right? I'm going to pay to make sure it's the good version of this. Your platform is going to work. If there's an interruption, it's going to be internet based, not going to be the program.
Right.
So I mean, that's something that you don't have any control over that, writer, because like ultimately your therapist is going to choose whatever platform works for them. And a lot of our electronic health records now, where we keep your medical notes, those are now often coming with the built-in telehealth side, which I'm fine with. I think it's a great one-stop shop. But the question has always been, are they good at this yet? And for the longest time, I don't know if they're good at this yet because the telehealth or the electronic health record I use, it offers it. I refuse to pay for it because, no, I'm going to use the company who does just this.
Yeah.
They only do video conferencing, and they're really good at it. And they have a whole fleet of people just updating that and protecting that. Like, I don't want to do like a C+ job at the telehealth.
I didn't know about this HIPAA compliant thing on Zoom. This is fascinating.
It is a whole thing, yeah. And that was one of the reasons Zoom got ahead of this back during COVID is all the other platforms weren't HIPAA compliant.
Yeah,
right.
And so there was a race to get there, and Zoom had already done it. And it had just come out that they had just said, hey, we're going to just create BAAs and have HIPAA compliance. We're going to have to pay for it.
Now, the really frustrating part of what you're saying, too, is that the HIPAA compliance starts on Zoom at just the pro level.
Yeah.
Which is $160 a year.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, which I pay more than that.
Right.
Yeah,
oh, no, that's like the base pro level, though.
Yeah.
But you can start doing the HIPAA compliance stuff even at that level.
That's
I'm sure
so
you get more
cheap.
benefits and you figured out what you
but
need.
But for that cost, if you're a therapist out there and you're not using
just have
good
that.
platforms, $160 for the year.
And then you don't have
man.
to like sign off after an hour and then
pay
make a
that.
new meeting and all that
You
bullshit.
pay less than that to renew your license.
Yeah.
Geez,
Right.
Pay that. Yeah, CEUs. Jesus. Yeah, unless you're me and you try to break the system getting free CEUs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which we talk about at work all the time.
Do you really? I love it.
This was such a
did we ever
such
talk
a
about it on the
Jim
show?
moment. I don't think
we
so.
ever brought it
so.
up.
Let's take a moment to really appreciate
Do you want to start
this shyster.
Do you want to finish the letter and then
Yeah,
move
let's
into
do
this?
that.
Yeah, that's fine. We'll do it during trivia.
What do you think about setting up like with the tissues and stuff?
By the way, Ryder, you're welcome.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know. I was
Jacob
like,
rescued
this
that
is really
question.
going
We were
off.
going
Thank
off
you,
the
Jacob.
rails. I don't like the giving somebody a prep guide, like, make sure you have a glass of water, make sure you have your tissues. I mean, I do like, I have a little bit of prep that just says, here's the link, here's how you get it. And then in my informed consent packet, I have a section that talks about telehealth, and it says some things like, hey, it's your responsibility to be somewhere private. I can't protect your privacy.
Right. Yeah.
Like in your home, or, if you're choosing to do this in like a car with the windows down or whatever, I can't control your tech. If somebody's snooping on you and you don't know that.
Yeah,
and
if your computer has a virus on it or something.
I don't have the ability to protect that. So, I mean, there are some walkthroughs in there that basically say some, safety guidelines and some privacy guidelines. but not all the way down to like, make sure you're wearing pants. Like that's none of my business.
Yeah, I mean, because like your role
pants.
or your obligation,
it's optional in the Jobin clinic.
Your obligation as the therapist is to like control the environment of like for confidentiality.
Right.
But the problem is that, that's a shared environment when you're in person. It's not a shared environment over telehealth.
Right.
So the therapist can only control their half of it, and they have to give the other half of that control over to you, the patient. And it's, but that's up to you, because, it'd be the same as if you decided to go home and tell somebody about your therapy session.
Right.
Yeah.
You can do that.
Right.
Because you can self-disclose.
And so this comes up a lot. So this is one of the areas that actually has made me itchy over the years is I'll see person who is in car. They're clearly in passenger seat. Car is clearly moving.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm
I
like,
had one
hey
like
there.
that.
And they're not wearing headphones.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, Jim, how's it going? And I'm like, I don't even want to begin talking until you have announced who the driver is and what is going on.
Yeah.
And so, I'll bring it up, be like, oh, you on the road? Who's out there? Be like, yeah, I'm kind of heavy on, I need to know who this person is.
That's so awkward.
And they'll be like, oh, it's just my husband. But I've told him, we are free to do this in front of him. I don't keep secrets from him. But that shit has backfired on me in life.
Yep.
Where I've had somebody come in and be like, oh, yeah, I brought my son to session today. He knows everything, Jim. It's like, he knows that you go to like gay BDSM clubs behind his mom's back. Like, I'm pretty sure he doesn't.
No.
Like,
who do you think drives me?
So that can backfire really fast. And but you're right, though. And we've had like new therapists that are like, oh, we have to shut down the session immediately. And it's like, no. You technically don't. Like, they have the right. They could bring that person to the room if they wanted to, if you were in person. Right. And they have the right to tell them anything, anytime. Like, you just need to be aware, and you need to be very thoughtful about what you're saying back and forth, because it's not, just because that person's in the session doesn't mean you can just gush now and be like, okay, well, anyway, last week you talked about how you're having an affair with your coworker. You can't just launch into that.
But here's the other, this gets really mucky when it talk about confidentiality.
Yeah.
Because HIPAA prevents unauthorized disclosure of information.
By the provider.
Sure.
Yes.
But what is authorized?
Right, because we don't have that specified right now.
We don't know. And so there's
you have to play very careful defense.
Yeah, because there's a situation where, they can say, oh, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
And then you say something,
yeah,
and they're like, "Well, that's not fine."
You cannot volunteer
it's done.
anything. Yeah,
that you can't unring the bell, so you don't know where the lines are. They can't careful. Give informed consent for disclosure because they don't know what you're going to say in advance. It's just
it's a mess.
Yeah, it's not a good situation.
So I don't love it, but when it happens, I basically just go with you're taking the lead, and I'll tell them that. I'll say things like, "So just listen. Whenever there's an audience here." I do not take the lead and ask questions based on things I've heard in the past or things I want to follow up on.
Yeah, it's going to be very
You're
open-ended.
going to take the lead, and we're going to go with what is on your mind today. And we might talk about deeper things in private where that's meant to be done.
Yeah.
And usually when you frame it that way, the passenger's like, oh, absolutely, of course. I don't want to blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, great. So let's do whatever version of therapy you wanted to do today.
Yeah. I think as far as having things around you, what I'll normally do with clients is when I know there's something like maybe we're going to talk about, they've mentioned, next session, I want to talk about, the death of my father or something like that. Or we go into session and I can tell something's really heavy and they're in their bedroom, or whatever. I'll be like, oh, well, get cozy. Do you want to go grab a glass of water? Like, get your favorite blanket. Is your puppy nearby? Like, I will kind of give them permission. Like, do you need to get more comfortable or whatever?
Yeah.
And most of the time they'll be like, you know what? Yeah, let me take just a minute and make sure I have all my stuff around me or whatever.
Yeah.
So.
Which another thing I love about telehealth, man. It is so cool. I have had sessions where somebody just has their dog.
Oh yeah,
and it's just
that's my favorite is meeting the animals. I'm like,
pets.
let me see that.
Oh,
face.
That's the best. I love meeting pets. I love meeting babies. I love whenever they just are walking around the house and I'm like getting to
you see the whole thing. You're like, hey.
Well, I love it. People are like, oh yeah, we just got this thing remodeled. Let me show you. And I'm like, yeah. Like, oh, we got this new kitchen table. And oh, cool. Like, this is awesome.
Totally.
Yeah, that's the best. Or they're really proud of their desk because they have like cool Legos and shit all over. Like, let me show you all my tchotchkes. And like, yeah. Anyway, Ryder, there's no wrong way to do it. The good news is that I like that you're being mindful. I want you focused on getting the best experience you can. I really like the advice of the warm-up and the cool-off. I think that if that's something you've noticed has helped you in the past, incorporate that into this. Make that hour intentional. Don't just make it one more squeezed-in quick meeting in between other things. When you can give yourself, as Jacob said, just 10 in the front, 10 afterward, just to have that warm-up, to get your thoughts gathered, to think about what you're going to say today, and then that 10-minute reflection period to think about, what did we talk about today? How am I feeling after that? And where do I want to go next? And what's my homework? What am I doing? That kind of stuff goes a long way. So I love it.
Yeah.
We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're talking about the amazing disappearing friend. You're listening to Pod Therapy.
Today's episode is brought to you by
Playboy,
Robert Brownie Jr., Mintz, Kayla Lansbury, Kevin Chamberlain, Ben Stanley, Adam Hathaway, Dan Martin, Lib, Hey Yo, Andrew Langmead, and Nathan Mecki. I think I got that right.
Probably.
Would you like to sponsor the show? Become a therapy producer. Patreon.com/therapy. Okay. Want some office trivia again?
I love it.
Okay. Jim, it's your birthday. You get to start us off.
Woo!
What is Kevin's band called?
Oh, shit. Oh. So what are our rules on this? Is it 2 if you fly?
2 on the fly.
Or go for the options?
Yeah.
I need the options.
Scrantonicity. Kevin and the Zits. Scrantonicity 2. Or Dunderheads.
Damn it.
Oh, none
Give
of
me
those.
Scrantonicity 2.
That's it.
Okay, the answer says Scrantonicity, but I think that's wrong. I think it is Scrantonicity.
Oh, no, wait, no. I think the other parts I don't think he split off. I think part of his other band, part of his band split off and made Scrantonicity 2.
Oh.
He talks about them somewhere.
Yes.
And I think he doesn't like them.
Yes. I'm going to give you half a point, Jim.
I'll take it.
Even though the answer
the
said
gift
he was
that
right.
keeps on giving.
Wait.
I know.
All right,
Wait.
Whitney. All right, you're up.
This is fun.
Happy birthday.
Happy
God
birthday.
damn it.
What fake disease does Dwight invent to scare his coworkers?
Oh, to scare his coworkers. I guess I need the options.
Spontaneous dental hydroplosia, Count Chocolitis,
Oh, let it be done.
hot dog fingers, reverse Ebola.
Oh
These
my
are
gosh.
all great.
What? I don't know. The dental one, the first one.
Correct.
Yes. When he went to Crentist.
Yeah.
The dentist.
Jacob,
All right.
what is the first prank Jim ever pulled on Dwight?
Oh, I think it's the Jello. I think it's stapler and Jello.
Oh, yeah, you're right, I think.
Go for it.
It is.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well
Very,
done.
very, very good.
Did you ever see the one where Jim is trying to play pranks on Dwight to make Stanley laugh? And he realizes the only thing that makes Stanley laugh is putting meatballs and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he's like filling his drawer with meatballs. And like Jim's at one point, he's getting so into this that he's like, dude, I'm like up all night making meatballs now for these jokes. And then afterward, it turns out Stanley and Dwight are scamming Jim and they're just splitting all the meatballs.
Yeah.
I don't remember that one well.
So, CEUs.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
so we get
What are CEUs?
continuing education units.
Okay.
They're classes we have to
I
take.
feel like I just heard this story for the first time and it's amazing.
So, Jim, I work for an organization that provides training.
Okay.
So we get a ton of CEUs.
Got it.
When I have to renew my license, I never have to take
Worry.
any training. Yeah, I never have to
You're like,
worry.
done.
I just look at what I've done
And for
throughout the year.
perspective, the
and
price
put
of
it
a
in.
CEU, like,
Can be
we need a
pricey.
lot. Like for us, we renew every 2 years, and I have 2 licenses, so I have
Yeah.
a fuck ton
Yeah.
of CEUs that I need.
cheapest is usually $65,
Oh.
and that's only for like an hour and a half.
Yeah, that's getting you
Okay.
1.5 credits.
Yeah.
And I
Gotcha.
usually need, I think, like 40 to 50 credits to
Okay.
renew my license.
So because I work for an organization that provides all these, I get them for free.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so it's a big perk of the job.
Huge perk.
Jim comes to
Huge.
work for this organization for literally 10 minutes.
I got an
Jim-
email. I
Jimothy.
was there long enough.
Jimothy, we can't take you anywhere.
And so anytime one of these is ordered and the discount code is used, the
Which I didn't
supervisor-
know.
It's
I didn't know that they
The
get notified.
It's like
gets
attached to
notified.
Jim.
Yeah,
Like
nobody
this code.
knew that. Okay, I was there. I got the
So all of a
orientation
sudden-
email. It said, "Hey, by the way, now that you're a member of the team, you get free CEUs." I didn't read past that line.
So all of a sudden, the supervisor's like, why is Jim downloading 25 courses?
I had $2,000 of free fucking courses in my cart. I was smashing that fucking coupon code.
Oh my gosh,
and I bought them all in 10 minutes. And it was the 10 minutes after they had called to let me know they were laying me off because they weren't going to need me. Because I was signed up to teach a class with them. And they were like, hey, Jim, we ended up getting somebody else for that. And you mentioned you were going to do more at UNLV. So I think we're just going to part ways. And I was like, totally great. And immediately dove onto their website and started downloading every course. So then I get a text from Nick.
Every part of that checks out.
Hey, man, did you just fucking rob the candy store? And I'm like, why do you know that? He's like, because they saw you, you idiot. They're calling me to find out what my dumbass friend.
Footage.
They're like, they were asking me, did you give him the discount code?
Yeah.
I was like, no, I didn't.
You did, you idiots. So then they messaged me and they're like, put them all back. They were like, you can pick 2 and we will give you those as a courtesy that you may take with you for your 10 minutes of time that you spent enrolled with us.
Not $2,000 worth.
So I ended up having to pay for the rest.
So there you go. So that's the story.
That's the story.
I'm happy that Jim had to pay for it.
It's like you had to pay for it, they can return them.
I did get 2 for free and I did pick the most expensive ones, but that was only like $200. So I had to pay all the rest. So anyway, good trivia on that. I like it.
Yeah.
Next question, the amazing disappearing friend. A short question. Here it is. So I have a friend that several
Where's my friend?
Where's my friend?
From Anonymous.
That's the question.
That was amazing. So I have a friend that several times has dropped all communication for months, only to resurface later. Yep, we all have that friend. I am that friend. She lives a few hours away in another state, and we used to see each other every few weeks. Not romantic, but just what I thought was a deep and meaningful friendship. It seems like sometimes she just blocks out the world and doesn't let anyone know. I've double-checked her staff listing at the university where she works just to reassure myself that she's still alive, this time, as it seems like much more time has gone by. I really wonder what causes this type of behavior in someone. Last time she said she was just overwhelmed. Is it normal to not even give a clue to people you're close to about what's going on in your life? It's hard not to dwell on it. Thanks, friends. Love the show, Anonymous.
Okay, so Jim, why do you do that?
Dude,
Jim is your
I
friend?
do it because
This
I'm
is
a bad
the easiest
friend.
question
This
we've
is
ever had
the
to
best
answer.
way they've been able to contact them.
I
Into
think
the
that
podcast.
normal people do this.
Do you think this is Jim's friend writing in?
Yeah. It's
My friend's name is
just
Jim.
all my friends. So, the university thing, actually. So, for normal people, I've seen they do this because they get overwhelmed with keeping tabs on people and feeling like, oh, I haven't talked to these friends in enough time. I'm due. I need to like check in with them. And I've seen some people get overwhelmed and they will literally block and like shut off all their social media and basically go dark without notifying anybody. And I don't like that. I like those who will post to their social media, hey, everybody, I'm going to take a break for a while. I'm fine. Everything's fine. If you don't hear from me, everything's fine. I'll be back in a month. I like that kind of like announcement just so people don't think you're dead.
Yeah.
But I've definitely seen people get overwhelmed.
That's also a level of self-awareness.
Yeah.
That you have to do that. Like, I know I'm going to disappear for a few weeks right now.
Yeah.
I'm just going to let people know.
I just don't respond. So people text me and I just never reply.
Yeah. Peter's like that too.
Is he?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
No, what I've heard sometimes, I've heard clients tell me when they get a text and they don't respond right away, maybe in the moment they're like busy or whatever, then it builds up in their mind, that overwhelm builds up.
Oh, yeah.
And they're worried about responding. And what I've heard them say is something like, well, then if I respond, it'll be like a long conversation. They're overwhelmed at the thought of what that texting back will lead to. Like a lot of time out of their day and they're busy. So then they don't. And then let's say 2 or 3 days goes by and they're like, well, now it just feels weird to respond. Like it's been 3 days. So then they just don't.
Right.
It's like that feels awkward too.
Yeah.
And then a month's gone by and you're like, well, now what? No, I guess we're just not friends.
Yeah.
And I feel like sometimes there's this protocol.
Sometimes it's easier to just end friendships.
In the friendship. Yeah. I can't. Who has time for this? I can make more friends.
Right.
There'll be more friends.
Yeah.
Now that you put it that way, I agree completely.
Yeah, no, you get it. You get it, right? Like, I could reply to this, but I'll meet new people.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Yep,
I don't
it's
have to
fine.
keep this going.
I've been in situations like that before. Not with exactly with the text messages, but like you put something off for so long
Right.
that it's just like, well, I guess I have to move out of state now.
Right,
yeah,
It's like
yeah.
there's no way to
Nope.
resolve this.
Well,
Like,
plus
I
the
have to
video's
fake
going to
my death.
repossess my house.
yeah.
I think we're given a death penalty for this overdue library book. Yeah, I think that sometimes it is better to start over. But no, I mean, I think that some people do feel the tax of like the procedures to keep in touch with friends.
Yeah.
And I mean, not to over gender stereotype here, but I feel like for women that expectation shows up more often where it's like, I've had female clients that will tell me like, yeah, so my friend finally called me. And I'll be like, okay. I'm like, I don't think I've ever said that about any male friend in my life ever. Like, you know,
funny with
if
clients
Nick
when they
calls
say
me, I'm not
something, you're
like,
like-
oh, finally. You know,
Yeah.
it tells me like, oh, so Nick finally checked in. Like, if Nick calls me, I'm like, why are you calling me?
If
and
anything,
I
I'll
put
be
it
like-
straight to voicemail.
I'll be like, Nick called me today.
yeah. Oh,
Weird.
He called me.
what, from the hospital?
No.
Was he bail?
No,
was
at home.
Oh, okay. Okay. Like,
Family Guy did a thing about this.
Oh, yeah?
Where, like Peter calls Quagmire just to talk.
Yeah.
And
Peter, what's
Quagmire's like, what are you doing? What?
Yeah, what do you
What are we
need?
doing?
Calling me?
That is
So
that is the
weird.
current AT&T. I think it's AT&T ad that's out right now.
Oh, that's
It's
hilarious.
basically like, hey, phones can call people. Your grandparents aren't going to be alive forever. You should call them.
That's
Like,
hilarious.
I'm summarizing it, but that's the
That's
ad.
the premise
Yeah.
of the ad.
I'm not making anything up.
That's how that works.
Yeah.
That's really funny.
I think part of this. I mean, well, I can say for myself, like I'm pretty good at replying
Yeah.
to text messages or anything like that.
I'm good at it
I'm
if I
fighting
do it
back to that.
immediately.
That's
Yeah.
Then
my
you will
thing.
forget.
I will
So-
forget about it.
Yeah,
Yes.
yes.
If
That's-
unless I leave it on unread,
Yeah.
unless I leave the notification there, I will just forget about it.
That's
Yeah.
exactly what I was going to say. Is I have to. Sometimes the mistake I make is I answer,
Open
or
it.
I open it,
Yeah.
knowing I don't have time right now to reply, but I'm just curious. I want to read it.
Yeah.
And then now I'm like, okay, well, I'll reply to this later, and then I just
Move on
then
with
it's
your
gone.
day.
I
Yeah.
set reminders sometimes
You don't
in my
have an iPhone, do you?
calendar to reply to people.
Wow.
With my Android, I can't leave it as an unread message. I can do that with emails, but I can't do that with a
Yeah.
text.
You can't mark it unread.
No.
Yeah, I can't.
Well, maybe I can. I've
Apple-
never
Apple
tried.
I
Text
don't
can
know.
do that.
Yeah.
You can mark it and say leave it unread.
Okay.
Leave it-
Yeah.
Yeah, like I haven't read it.
Which I guess that's interesting.
It's the one
Which
thing
I lo-
Apple can do. That
The one thing,
They
nothing
live
else.
in the future, Nick.
No, it's helpful
Wow.
because I'm a little bit like that too, Jacob.
Yeah.
And so when I want to read something now, it was great when they updated that, I think last year, because I could open it, read it, and then I'm like,
Yeah.
swipe over so I can mark it as like a new text again so I can check it later or whatever.
Right.
Because I
Yeah.
don't like seeing the notifications. Some of my friends have like 200 plus unread texts, and I don't know how they
How are
function.
they living
I
their
don't know.
lives?
My anxiety is through the
You
roof
throw
watching
the
it that
phone
way.
away.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
I
I
have
think that's
to.
what you do.
You just get a new
just-
number.
Yeah,
Like,
you switch carriers.
Yeah.
You fake your own death.
Change your name. Yeah.
That's the only one way out of this.
Wow.
But I actually kind of like what Jim said earlier. I thought about this listening to you share is, like when you said, okay, if I'm going on a social media hiatus, you kind of tell people. So I feel like for your friend, letting them know how it affects you when you don't hear from them, and not as a way to like guilt trip, hey, you have to keep up with me, but
Right.
hey, this really hurts my feelings or stresses me
Yeah.
out or whatever when I don't hear back from you for like long periods of time. If you could just let me know if you're going through something, I won't even press or whatever. Like just, hey, I am really overwhelmed right now. I might need some time.
Yeah.
I'll reach out to you when I'm ready. Just something like that to let me know
Mm-hmm.
we're okay. And, you know, I don't have to worry about you, or it's not,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just something you're going through, which is fine. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
I don't know.
Kind of
It's
wonder
not
if
that-
part of this too is just the fact that this friendship, I mean, it's distance,
Mm.
and distance
That's hard.
plus time, it's difficult to maintain that relationship.
Yeah.
You know,
It is.
you have to work really hard at that. Like when I moved away from Iowa, like I've had to, some of those friendships have kind of become further and further apart.
Yeah.
The ones that I've really tried to maintain, it's work.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
Oh,
it's
yeah.
constant checking in on a regular basis, and it's tough to do. Definitely.
Yeah. No, I agree. And, I think that it's also interesting because I think we all have experienced this thing in life where you have a friend who only reaches out specifically when something's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's only when they're having relationship trouble. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden you're getting the, hey, girl. That's how my
Especially
my
as a
friends text me.
therapist.
Yeah. Oh, and I just thought I'd check in with my bestie.
Yeah.
And you're like, I forgot your fucking name. Like, I had to remind myself who you are. And so I can feel like that is part of the letter too, of like, oh, the amazing disappearing friend, like, they're never really around in my life, but then occasionally they resurface. And like, I am that friend. I mean, I just am. Not whenever something bad is happening in my life, but like, I'll get this wild hair of like, ooh, I want to socialize again. And then I'm reaching out to people. I'm like, hey, what are you doing? You want to go to a football game? What's going on here? And like, it's like, okay, like come along and we'll do that for a little while. And then
do you think some of that feels like just the stage of life you're in, or have you always been that way?
I've probably always been that way.
Because I thought you were really close with some of your friends in college and stuff. You said.
I mean, yeah, I see. So Nick saw them all,
I did.
Yeah, he actually carpooled with them.
Recently?
Nice. Yeah, this weekend. Yeah.
Just when we went to the UNLV game and met up with. Well, I knew Eddie.
Yeah,
I already knew Eddie. But...
Yeah, Eddie's little brother.
Yeah,
okay.
But yeah, I mean, like UNLV is in the championship this Friday, and I'll probably meet up with them to watch the game. But that's because we have that in common.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, I don't want to just any random day go watch football at a bar. And like, the only time I will ever do that is if we record it on a Sunday, and then afterward I'm like, Nick, do you want to go grab a burger and watch the afternoon game or whatever? Mm-hmm. Like, that's the only time I'll do it. I just don't like to leave my house.
Well, like, would you invite people to your house then?
Very rarely.
Why?
Because I'd rather go to Jacob's. If we're all going to somebody's house, I want to go to Jacob's house.
Well, that's obvious, but Jacob didn't invite us.
I know.
And you said you don't want to leave your
Jacob's
house.
like, how did I get involved in this?
Yeah.
Jacob will be there on Sunday.
Yeah, so the point is I think we should watch the Mountain West Championship at Jacob's house.
Like, I'm looking over here to see what time the game's on.
Friday at 5.
Yeah.
I think that would be
Friday?
Yes.
I have to be at work at 8, but I can meet you somewhere before that.
Yeah, your house.
If I'm not, it's not going to be at my house.
At your house.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier on you. You don't even have to drive.
Oh, yeah,
Well, I'm going to drive anyway because I'm going to go to work.
Okay.
At 8.
Yeah. Yeah,
But I can meet at 5 somewhere.
It'll be fine.
Yeah.
We'll feed the dogs.
So that's just it? It's just that you just don't... You've never been any other way. That's the way you've always been.
I don't know. When I was really young, in like high school, I probably was, like that's all you do is you leave your house.
Yeah.
You just go out with your friends to Jack in the Box and just eat in a parking lot. Like,
So, I mean, for the writer, I'm wondering if this was a change in behavior. It sounds like this was a change.
Yeah, they used to meet up every few weeks.
Yeah. My guess is it's probably just the distance takes a toll on relationships, and it becomes more and more difficult to maintain them.
Sure.
And that just sucks. There's not a really good answer for that other than that, if you want to communicate with this person more often, you may have to take the lead on that.
Like if you had a friend or Jim, since you said you're this person, like if your friend reached out to you and said, hey, buddy, are you okay? Like we used to hang out every few weeks, but it's been like every 6 months, once a year, whatever. Like that really sucks. Like, could we get together more? What would you say to them?
I would definitely, if I were in that role, which all the people in my life at this point tolerate me, and they all know, like, yeah, he's joked about it on the show that it's like, yeah, just Jim doesn't fucking answer text, and it's not because I don't like you. I don't like you for other reasons.
But Nick's not your best friend.
Bader!
Like, Nick barely likes you.
He is my fucking best friend. He doesn't know it. I've announced it to him before. I've been a few cups in at a bar, and I remember I announced it to him. I was like, you're my best friend. And he was like, just staring into the nachos.
Funny thing, I don't remember that at all.
Nope.
Too many Margs.
Too many Margos. That'll happen to the best of us. Yeah, if a friend asked me that and was like, hey, man, I just want to make sure we're okay. Mm-hmm. Then, of course, but then, like, my weird codependency side would kick in really hard, and I'd be like, oh no, have I hurt you? Like, I'm so sorry. And like, I would feel the need to explain to them, like, I'm just not a communicator. I'm so sorry, but like, I'm good.
Well, what part of that's codependency and what part is like just being like kind to another human to tell them,
being kind.
nothing
No, nothing
and
wrong
telling
with that.
them like
I'm saying that I would now obsess over that, and I'd be like, oh my God, who else thinks I'm mad at them?
Oh, it would extend beyond.
It would now become this thing of like, oh no, I need to let everybody know, like check in with everybody. I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad at you. And like, I would be horrified.
Which would be helpful for all those other people.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. Yeah. Who haven't heard from you.
So Whitney, in case you were wondering, we're cool. Like,
I'm
yeah,
like,
we're
Jim,
great. Yeah.
I'll text
Jim,
you later.
Never text me back.
Text you later.
In the group thread. And I tell you, I'm going to be at the studio at this time. You don't respond to me.
Dude, every time you reply to the group thread, I'm shocked.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Wow. I'm just used to Jim always texting us on there.
No.
It's the only way to get me is I will be the fourth person to say, I guess I have to speak or we aren't going to meet. So.
No, what it is it's Jacob. Oh, Jacob's on this story. I got to check.
Yeah. Jacob's the missing
ingredient. Jacob's texting.
Yeah. Well, I don't want him to think I'm mad at him. Yeah. I'm sure he would lose so much sleep.
What? Who's talking?
Who is that man? Anyway,
did we answer that?
I'm
sorry.
You know what? We came close enough. We said more to you than your friend does. So, we're better friends.
Yeah.
We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're talking about, are my tech support customers getting dumber? You're listening to Pod Therapy.
Today's episode is brought to you by Robert Brownie, Junior Mintz, Kayla Lansbury, Kevin Chamberlain, Ben Stanley, Adam Hathaway, Dan Martin, Lib, Hey Yo, Andrew Langmead, and Nathan Mickey. If you would like to sponsor the show, sign up by going to patreon.com/therapy. Okay, next set of trivia. Let's start with Jacob this time.
All right.
Let me pull up the trivia here.
You're doing great,
there we
Nick.
Go. Okay. This is easy. You got this one. Yeah. Okay.
The Office.
Who does Michael hit with his car in the parking lot?
Ooh.
Oh, that's what's her name?
Yeah.
Oh man, this is a little bit more
It
difficult
is
than
hard, dude.
thought.
I don't remember her name.
I can picture
remember
her.
who it is.
She's the girl Creed.
Yeah, there's Angela. There's
Oh, this
Pam.
is hilarious.
You know it?
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I know exactly who it is. I just can't think of her name.
Monica,
I'm gonna
Rachel, Phoebe.
Text
That's it.
Nick. Hold on to make sure I get the right answer, and then I get the points.
Don't put it in the group thread.
Nope.
Yeah.
Yeah, do that. Do that. Wow.
Meredith.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
got it.
Dang it.
Jeez, for two.
I had
Yep.
to
For
type.
2.
I just had to sit there and think through them.
Yeah.
Okay. Whitney,
Okay.
what does Michael accidentally grill his foot on?
Oh, the waffle maker. Shoot, is that what it is? Hold
wow.
on. Is it? It is the waffle
think
maker.
You're going waffle
Both of
maker?
you are struggling a little bit with this one.
I got it. I can.
Panini maker thingy. Panini griller. No,
Is that your
No.
final answer?
panini is my final answer.
No.
No, I cannot accept that. I'm
Dang it.
sorry.
No.
Okay.
I would have
Idiot.
protested if he had accepted that.
Okay.
Is
I
it
would have
the
declared
George
shenanigans.
Foreman?
It's the
Oh,
George
the
Foreman.
George
Yeah.
He's making bacon.
Dude, the
Okay.
George Foreman fucking ruled.
I had one of those. I had one of those.
Great. Yep.
Dang it.
All right, Jim. What is the name of the paper company Michael briefly starts?
Oh, no. I think it's just called Michael Scott Paper Company.
Yeah.
I'll take that for 2.
Correct.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's the Michael
Oh,
Scott Paper
yeah.
Company.
Nah, you're right. The integrity must be maintained.
The choices were Michael Scott Paper Company,
The
Dunder
Michael
Scott,
Scott.
Scott's Tots.
Scott's Tots. That is the cringiest episode.
That is.
That is hard to watch.
Oh, I
That
cannot.
is so hard to watch.
Oh, my God.
bad.
At the
Okay.
time, I thought I would be much more successful.
That show is so great.
Oh, man. All right. Last question. Are my tech support customers getting dumber?
Yes.
So I work in tech support, and I feel like our clients are frustrating me more and more. I've done the job for quite some time, so it could just be an issue of too long doing the same thing. But when someone asks what to do if they've forgotten their password, click forgot password on the login page. Or when talking to them, they seem to lack common sense. I've also felt more frustrated in traffic lately, so I think it's probably me that changed, not them. How can you improve your state of mind when doing routine tasks? Thanks, Anonymous. Oh, that's got to be such a thankless job.
People-
answer the same question 800 times.
People have simultaneously gotten much smarter and much dumber with tech.
Okay,
Yeah.
I have a comment on this, but I want to hear Jacob's
They're
theory
more
first.
And I believe it is because, so when I was growing up, like technology was blooming into what it is today. Like we all remember like when the internet became more prevalent and everything, and and all that kind of happened.
You've got mail.
But for all of that time beforehand, and even into that time as well, if you were a user of technology, first of all, not everyone was.
Right.
So it wasn't just ubiquitous like it is now. And second of all, if you were a user of technology, you also had to have some skills in troubleshooting. You just had to.
Yeah, you had to figure it out. You couldn't ask your friend or do anything. Just you had to figure it out.
Or you might be able to ask somebody or whatever, but you were going to be doing the work. You had to be the one to actually fix it, and that has completely gone away. You don't we don't have to do anything now, and so when something does go wrong, we are, I think, much more clueless on how to fix it, and also
lazy.
And also the user pool has expanded to virtually everyone.
Well, do you think also
That's
part of
point,
that is
too.
the technology has advanced beyond the point where the average person could deal with it?
It's gotten hard.
Because I'm thinking about cars.
Right.
People used to just be able to fix their own car.
Yeah.
But you can't do that now.
Oh,
you gotta go plug it into a wall and then the computer tells you what's wrong with it.
Yeah, it's so computerized.
Yes.
So
I say that like I've ever fixed a car.
Nick, no.
Well, I miss those good old days.
It's people have fixed cars in the past.
Yeah. Right, guys? Right?
No, we
I
have
don't even wash my own car.
I believe that. Well,
You can't.
Jim's,
In Vegas, it's illegal.
Jim's son knows how to fix cars.
Yeah, no, my son,
no, I had this experience where I had a first generation Apple Watch, super old, just used it forever. And one of my friends, her teenager was wanting to buy it off me. So I sold it to her for $20 or whatever. And she puts it on. I had wiped it. And so I gave it to her.
With a towel?
Yes. No, or I'm sorry.
She baby wipes it.
Yeah.
Hold
on, let me get all the porn off here real quick.
I know.
And there you go.
No, I'm sorry. I had disconnected it, but I didn't know you. I thought once you disconnected it, everything deleted, but
gotcha.
it doesn't. So all the porn was still on it.
Oh,
No.
damn.
No, but your texts and things like
Likes
that.
the porn very small.
Now, the question is, which hand does she wear the watch
You mentioned
on?
those goggles.
Right.
Yeah, from the shooting range. So I hadn't wiped it. And so she follows up with me sometime later that day, and
The little motion tractor's like, did you leave your watch in a paint shaker?
no shit.
What's going on here?
Well, so I follow up with her, and she's sitting there on her phone, looking at fucking TikTok. I don't know. And she's like, oh, well, the watch, it still has all Whitney's stuff on it. And I'm sitting there looking at her. I'm like, did you look up how to do it? She's like, well, I don't know what to do because her stuff's still on it as she's on her phone. I'm like,
oh my God.
You know what I'm about to do?
Yeah, we're going to figure this
go
out
online,
right now.
How to clear my Apple Watch.
Oh my
Is that
gosh.
fucking fast? And they don't do it.
Right.
Oh, man.
She's 13. I'm like, you're not 8
Yeah.
or whatever.
I think it is. It's a change in mindset. There's not that well, I got to figure out how to fix this.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah.
I don't think that's unfair. That's what we've done.
Yeah.
That's what we have, as a society have,
There's
have
a
done.
learned incompetence.
But I mean, the purpose of technology, though, is to make things simpler.
Yeah.
The purpose of technology is to make us work less.
Yeah.
And so if the technology is also what is fixing the technology,
Right.
that
Oh,
is
yeah.
making, that is achieving that goal.
Yeah.
It should just do it.
Right.
It just should work. It's
Yeah.
ugh.
And in her life, in her 13-year-old life, that has worked most of the time.
Right.
Right. You get a new phone and it auto sets
That's
up.
it.
Everything's just
Yes,
on there.
it's all gotten faster. Yeah, and I also like the idea, if you are the tech support person, I don't hesitate to call you. Because in my mind, you get paid for this. And if I have a dumb question, if I can save 10 minutes in my day for you to answer it,
at a
that's why
company.
you have a full-time gig, is so that I can save 10 minutes and move on. And that's why it was efficient for our company to have you. Because if you save everybody 10 minutes for answering our dumbest questions, that was we paid for it.
That
was
being
a great
said,
choice.
Ryder, I worked in tech support for a couple of months. It's the one not entertainment job I ever had. And I was in high school and worked in the tech support thing
Fun
for a
facts
couple of months.
about Jacob.
And multiple times, more than twice, because I worked for a school board.
Oh, yeah.
And so more than twice, I drove out to a school
Oh, okay.
to plug a computer in.
Oh, Lord.
wow.
Oh, yeah.
And these weren't the computer lab is in or whatever. This would be like a secretary's computer.
Oh, wow.
This would be like someone's work machine.
It's not working.
They would call, my computer doesn't work. all right, I'm going to ask you the dumb question. I do this on the phone. I'm going to ask you the dumb question. Is it plugged in? Oh, of course it's plugged in. I get there, it's not plugged in.
No.
Oh my god.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Or it also happened multiple times that I got there and nothing else from that outlet would turn on either.
Oh, yeah.
Circuit breaker?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, the power on this outlet's fucked up.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah.
This is why there's a fee for a service call.
Right.
Yeah.
But we didn't have
Exactly
that
why.
because we were just on salary from the school board.
Yeah.
No, I definitely working at the
So,
insurance
so I
company.
just say that to say there've always been stupid calls
Right,
too.
that's so true. But I definitely had that experience where sometimes calling IT was like worth it. But you're right, I didn't want to spend my time trying to figure it out when I had other stuff to do. I just call them right away. And at least once or twice, I know they would tell me to do something. I'm like, oh shoot, yeah, I could have figured that out on my own. But I was like, oh well.
Well, and, that's kind of my stance on it. Like, yeah, I could go to ChatGPT and I could like sort this thing out and I could troubleshoot it. But I'm going to have to solve this for the first time in my life. And I can learn how, and it won't take all day. It will take 10 times the amount of time it would take you to solve it for the 1,000th time.
Yeah.
You can do it blindfolded.
Right.
You know, and there's a point to that too, where it's like there are things that are worth taking the time to learn how to do to solve problems that you're going to continue to encounter.
That's
but
fair.
if you're not going to, if you don't anticipate ever having to do this again, like why would I spend all of this time to learn how to do this skill that I'll never use again.
Right.
Yeah, like the average person doesn't need to know how to like defrag a hard drive.
Right.
Who gives a shit?
Hey, that used to be a really important thing.
It was.
I remember
I don't
doing
even know
that.
what
Getting
defrag
that done
means.
once a month.
do
You're a
too,
child.
No, like this
You don't
week.
know?
What does that mean?
This
Wow.
week, my Apple AirPods, my little Bluetooth headphones, the case wouldn't charge on the touch chargers anymore. I had to plug it in to charge it. It wouldn't charge on the little what do you call them?
The
chargers.
the Q,
Yeah,
QI
whatever the little
the
chargers
Qi.
are. Yeah, and I was like, well, this is weird. They were just working, and now they're not working. And so I Googled it, and the solution that came up. Tell me if you think this solution would work. Unpair the headphones from your device. Reset the device or reset the headphones, repair the headphones with your device, and now they will work. The touch charging will work on a charging panel that isn't connected to your phone in any
I would
way.
never
Why
think
the
that.
hell?
No.
Who'd care?
That worked.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. I was like, that doesn't make any sense at all.
No.
Yeah.
But this says it'll work, so I'll try it.
See, and I'd be like, they're broke. That
and I was
AirPods are
like,
broke.
I was like, why did that work?
I had a similar situation many years ago
You
with
turned
the
it off and
PlayStation
turned it
2.
I didn't even
No.
I did more than turn it off and turn it back on, but not much. And everything I did was related to the device that it was connected to, not to the charging thing.
So weird.
The issue that I had, I guess it was an Xbox 360. Like something was wrong. I called tech support, and they're like, "Well, is the date and time set?"
Right.
Oh.
And I'm like, "What? Why the hell would that matter?"
And you can
And
hear
it
it in
did.
their voice too.
Yes.
They're like, "Is
We've gone
is
this
the date
question
and
a
time
billion
set?
times.
Yeah.
I know this is going to sound stupid, but is the date and time
And they
set?"
know what I'm going to say,
Yeah.
and they know what they're going to say back to me, but they have to go through these steps
Yeah.
anyway. Yeah, I would be frustrated as hell.
So
But
I think for the
I
writer,
told-
it is a matter of acceptance and zen, and like this is just
Okay.
what this is.
So I think the writer's on to something, talking about I'm getting stressed at work. Oh, and by the way,
Yeah.
I'm a little frustrated
raging.
with traffic.
Yeah, no, I agree
Yeah.
with the writer that it's just
There's-
on them.
Yeah, there's some stuff going on here that maybe you need to kind of check in with yourself and do a little bit of self-care outside of work to help manage some of these emotions. It's kind of like, when you got a dog that needs exercise but it never gets to leave the house. It manifests in all of these other problematic behaviors.
Oh, now they're doing other things.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're
Whereas if
chewing
you
your
just
shoes and,
and then but any dog trainer's like the first question they ask is, well,
How often do you walk?
how often do you give it exercise?
Yeah.
And I think we're kind of like that too, where we don't, there's something that we're not doing that because we're not doing that, we start doing all of these other things. And it seems like it wouldn't relate,
Yeah.
such as repairing
Yeah.
earpods.
Yeah.
But it actually does kind of make sense.
I agree. So, Ryder, it may not seem like it relates, but walk your dog.
Walk
We're
your
going to
dog.
take a quick break, and when we come back,
Bang.
we're thanking everybody. You're listening to Pod Therapy. phone.
And we're back. This episode was brought to you by our therapy partners. I don't think we announced them on the third one, but they are Robert Brownie Jr., Mint, Kayla Lansbury, Kevin Chamberlain, Ben Stanley, Adam Hathaway, Dan Martin, Lib, Heyo, Andrew Langmead, and Nathan Mickey. Thank you.
There you go. So we are at the first show of the month, and this is the one where we thank everybody who makes this show possible at the Therapod level.
Every single person who's ever listened to this pod.
By name and social security number, which you didn't know we have, but we do. But before we do, we've got some new Therapods to welcome to the crew. Who has joined the Theraparty?
Got a couple new Therapals, Levi Sterling
I didn't notice
and
that.
Eleanor Brubaker. Thank you.
All right.
Lovely.
Couple new Therapods, Chill Food, and Grace.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Grace and Chill Food.
Cool.
All the Therapods. Thank you, Sam Cohn, University Jeff, Robert Paulson, Polygon, Colin, Richard Bruins, Linda Brandmeier, Scoopstronaut, Corey Owens, Joseph Pengrazio, Christine Phillips, Carrie Terhark, Gavin Bristow, Kiwi Fruit Scoop, James K, Take It Evie Podcast, Craig Little, Don Dorr, Jim Hunter, Scoopatron, Todd Canfield, Felicia Butler, David Sorensen, Shayla Bullock, Lauren Izzo, Stacy Coleman, Adam Petanuzzo, Matt Lenegren, Scoopiter Ascending, Ian Soto, Jessica Cyphers, Lee Popsicle, Dr. Scoop Little, James Dawson, Mama Ninja Scoop, Sarah Olo, Sam Butt, Grumpy Lakemead Park Ranger, Karen McCulloch, and thank you for my birthday card, Karen. That was lovely. What Weekend, Some Nobody, Lila, Be Gay, Do Crimes, Kelly Gagner, Nippy, Brian Emra, Matthew Johnson, Alec Lancaster, J.D. Congan, A Literal Pickle, Matthias Vandebrandt, Andres Saavedra Molina, Max the Ginger Scoop, Ken Tinsley, Julius Keppel, Chemist, Smells Funny, Protect and Scoop, Chad the Safety Lad, Walker Fluke, Philip Guyton, Tim Mystery, Almost Doctor, Nurse Joey, my bad, Matthew Kubik, Duffy the Slowly Getting Their Therapist Bear, Joel McMillan, Kierkegaard, Chris Conway, Melissa L. Geisler, Christopher DeGursey, Trisha Ortiz, Kirsten Johnson, DJ Seward, Mississippi Hippie, Scott A., Freya Lawson, Fifi, Eli, Heather W., Patty Glad, Kyle, Anthony Camarata, David Williams, Kate Pelise, Buddy Dobbins, Eric Dyer, Trontastic, Glitch Scoop, Kerna Pillar, Bug Nuts, Stephen Landon, Adam Balaz, Aletta Bailes, Kenneth Wong, John Finlayson, Mysterious Annalid, KJ, Mr. Poth, Carmen Perry, K. Pizzle Dizzle, Robert Cole, Temporary Reality, Jamebi, Syncitium, Jeff Darnell, Persephone Hazard, Ray J. Shark, Recreated, Jacob Hurt, Silka Daniels, Jenny Rose, Jacob Billingsley, J.W. Reynolds, What Does Scoop Mean? A Crusty Croissant, Alex Jardine, Dylan Colopy, Wolfie05, Autry Johnson, Ben Sherman, Chris Courtney, Dale the King, Cedar Hayden, Nora Monaco, Adam Goff, Kevin Tribe, Jesse Miller, Livy, Grace, Terrible Tay, Acrylicurve, Linus Hakanasan, Itty Bitty Chicken Farmer, Yagan Kylie, K. Matthews, Kevin, Chill Food, and John Caravatas.
And we have our pterodactyls. We have Ice Blue Scoop, Brian Lehman, Fred Beshara Jr.
That's it.
Yep. Scoop Brady, Andrea Anderson, Scoop Lindsay, Frozen Cusser, Lori Elsroth, Sai Shanagon, Scoopy Justice, Okies, did I say it wrong? Dank Butta, Brooks Lyle, Adam Ribchick, Lovely Spark, Mr. V, Jim and Manu, Adam Warren, the offices of counselor and counselor.
Nice. I love how Nick is just quietly looking at the Playboy the whole time that you're reading.
Manuel Cavazos. I was going to comment
articles.
on that. He's learning things.
No, honestly, what I was looking at is it's interesting to see cigarette ads.
That's what tipped me off when
The-
Jacob handed it over. I was like, Marlboro. I was like, what is he?
This is from September 1992, and there's like cool.
It's just
mint
filled
in
with
here.
cigarette ads.
There's tons of them. It's like, wow, I haven't seen those.
I noticed that too.
That's all I noticed.
Yep, me too. Same. Yeah, exactly.
Is there anything else in there?
No.
Was that all of them?
Yeah.
Okay. As we wrap up the show, we want to remind you can sign up at patreon.com/therapy. You can get our extended show ad-free a day early, as well as enjoy our live chat Discord community and our weekly deep dives, interviews, skill shares, research roundups, and rants. And as I am recording this episode this week, our intern Emma released episode 3 of her Therapy 101 series. This one is about how to afford therapy.
Cool.
Really gets into the weeds. And so if you've ever thought, man, I really just want to understand all the ins and outs, she leaves no stone unturned. Really great content. Check that out. Patreon.com/therapy. And we want to make sure that we thank, of course, at the top of the order, our deity, the Dark Lord himself, My Faja. And of course, we want to thank our therapy partners, the benevolent, revered, generous, and flagrantly pro-therapy diehards who love you all so much they give till it hurts, Dirty B and Pickett. And we want to thank our bosses, the mysterious and shrouded Illuminati members of the fan club, the Therapy Producers. Thank you, Jake Schneider, Myra, Robert Brownie Jr. Mint, Smitty Scoop, Ben Don, Judy Schneider, Kayla Lansbury, Malia, Leon Kassab, Mason Miller, Richard fucking Macy, Carolyn Albert, Kevin Chamberlain, Tess Miller, Sammy Scoop, Ben Stanley Slap in Your Face, Sarah Smith, Adam Hathaway, Byler T, Mike Helm, Paris, Darren Cunningham, Lib, Team Monaco, Thunder, Cougar, Falcon Scoop, Matt and Lisa Tangeman, Heyo, Oscar Swanrose, A Sunny Boy, Slurpy Kai, Motherfucker, Sandra McWaffle, Dan Martin, Hannah Marie, Andrew Langmead, Emma Kane, Alina, Cody the DeLorean Guy, Sam Cohn, and, of course, Nathan Mookie.
And if you'd like to hear this episode uncut and unedited,
and why wouldn't you?
And enjoy our spontaneous side projects, go to patreon.com/therapy. And thank you for supporting mental health.
That's all the time we got for this week's session. I want to thank our landlords, Matt Mattingly's Ice Cream Social Podcast, and thanks to those of you who contributed to our show today. We really appreciate it. Remember, Pod Therapy isn't something to keep all to yourself. Share the episode with the world. Tag us on the socials when you do. It's at PodTherapyGuys on Instagram, Threads, and Twitter. It's also Pod Therapy on Blue Sky. Fuck you, Twitter. And you can also find us on Facebook at /PodTherapy and all the extra goodies at patreon.com/therapy.
Do you want to submit a question to the show? Ask anonymously at podtherapy.net. Email us at podtherapyguys@gmail.com or clicking the link in the episode description by taking you to our anonymous Google form. I'm Nick Tangeman.
I'm Whitney.
I'm Jim.
Thanks, and we'll see you for your appointment next week.
Boom.
Cool.
Wait, Jacob, what was your first Playboy?
I don't know.
Ya mama.
Ooh.
Oh!
Shit.
Bye.
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 Bye.